In order. Everybody stand for the pledge. Good evening, everybody. First off, we have the approval of the agenda.
So moved.
A motion. Second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. We have MSBA monthly report.
Welcome to the January edition of the Missouri School Boards Association's Board Report. We start the new year with a look at what to expect during the 2026 legislative session. As always, education will be a topic of discussion throughout the session. MSBA Executive Director Melissa Randall and Senior Director of Advocacy Caitlin Whaley got together recently to recap the end of 2025 and provide a 2026 legislative preview. Melissa and Caitlin recorded the first episode of MSBA's new podcast, Always Bored, Never Boring. During the episode, they covered a wide variety of topics, but zeroed in on the education topics that could come up during this legislative session.
Well, let's talk about what are those topics. Education obviously is one of them. What are some of the topics within education do you think will bubble up? And what are the other big things that are going to drive the General Assembly this session?
Yeah, so I think it's going to be kind of some of the main topics that we've been talking about year after year. I think we're going to see open enrollment is going to be a huge topic this year. Another topic that I'm certain is going to come up is expansion of charter schools. Right now, with the exception of Boone County, who got its own special law, charters can only be expanded in when there's a subpar kind of accreditation status, and there's not any schools that currently are in that, which was a point of contention at the DESE hearing, at the Senate Education hearing this week. But I do think that people are going to look to expand, to create new ways for charters to exist outside of those categories.
Caitlin says that one topic in particular could be a focal point of the session, and it greatly affects public schools.
I think taxes is going to be the topic during session. I think it's a complex issue, and it's an issue that everybody is talking about in one way or another. And you're right. There's a big push on the property tax front. There's a big push from the governor on the income tax front. Somebody made a comment to me a few weeks ago that it seemed like nobody has a plan. And I said, no, I think the problem is that everybody has a plan. And so I think, I do think that both of those will be on the watch list throughout session. And I don't know if one's going to win, if somebody's going to find a path forward for both of them. Obviously, property tax is incredibly important to schools, and we have been closely monitoring and engaging with other groups that are interested and focused on defending local services, local schools, and that funding stream, because that is what keeps Missouri schools afloat as 49th or 50th, depending on the year, in state support for public schools. Like, that is how our schools survive and exist. And that's why we're so worried about Senate Bill 3 and watching that lawsuit so closely. Yeah. And that's why we're going to be extremely involved in, advocating for why that funding is critical for public schools.
To listen to the full legislative preview, visit the MSBA website for links to the podcast. New episodes will be released every month to not only keep you up to date on the latest during the legislative session, but also year-round conversations on the issues, opportunities, and stories shaping today's schools. Speaking of the legislative session, MSBA's 2026 Advocacy Series starts this month with the first Legislative Lunch and Learn, which takes place on January 17th. There will be monthly lunch and learns through May, and of course there's MSBA's Advocacy Day on Tuesday, March 10th. Advocacy Day activities begin at 9:30 a.m. at the Mill Bottom in Jefferson City, with the Student Showcase in the Capitol Rotunda in the afternoon. And finally, school safety is always an important topic. And with that, the most important school safety gathering ever held in Missouri is coming soon. Join us April 22nd through the 24th for the Missouri School Safety Conference in St. Louis. This statewide conference is hosted by MSBA Center for Education Safety in cooperation with the Missouri Department of Public Safety, the Missouri Department of Mental Health, and the FBI St. Louis Division.
This event is built specifically for those at the forefront of school safety. Principals, superintendents, school board members, school safety coordinators and directors, mental health professionals, SROs, and other first responders.
You'll find sessions on crisis mental health, threat assessment, incident command, emergency response, and so much more.
If you've been navigating the new requirements of Senate Bill 68, this conference is for you. And if you have the ultimate responsibility for keeping students safe, this conference is for you.
Together, we can lead, prepare, and protect because our students deserve nothing less.
For more information about the Missouri School Safety Conference, visit the MSBA website. That's it for this month. Thank you for allowing us to have some time at your board meeting, and we'll see you in February for the next MSBA Board Report.
Next we have the consent agenda. I just want to always point out that we always receive our packet usually a week in advance. We get to review the consent agenda, ask any questions to the superintendent or anybody. Just so these are things that we generally always easily approve. So not to go through everything one by one. So and we can always pull something out and discuss it if we need to as a board. So point that out. For a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda items as presented.
A second.
Motion to the seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Oh, I can go back. I have to figure out what I've been doing. Dr. Taylor and Chrissy, will you note if I can't figure out?
I got you.
I'm
Yep.
doing Josh's, okay,
We got you.
thanks.
And next we have public participation. Any board members and administrator will listen to concerns and respond when appropriate by mail or telephone at a later date. Have that. And moving on to report of the superintendent.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Happy New Year. It's good to see you all. We're 9 days into the semester. I think if you go to the next slide. Annual school board election finally opened on December 9th, closed on December 30th. The number of candidates equals the number of open positions, so we will not be required to have an election on Tuesday, April 7th. That will save the district a significant amount of money. So congratulations to Mr. Eric Bosler, Mr. James Kirchner, and Mrs. Martha Riesinger. Congratulations. Welcome back. Kindergarten registration for St. Genevieve Elementary is Saturday, March 14th from 8 to 2. Bloomsdale Elementary, Saturday, March 21st from 8 to 1. You can schedule an appointment. They will begin accepting appointments on Monday, February 9th, 2026. And then in your packet, you'll see safety report. I believe we had fire and earthquake this past month. And principal's reports will return next month because we've only had 9 days into the semester so far.
It is.
We'll wait another month. Unfinished business. Prop SG updates.
I want to return to the consent agenda just for a second. I wanted to mention the last item on the consent agenda was a meeting date adjustment for the Board of Education. Dr. Mercer was able to coordinate with the hospital and the presenters and the wellness committee and identified March 17th from 5 to 7 as our wellness evening. And so that consent agenda items that consent agenda item moves our Board of Education meeting from the 17th the day before to the 16th at the same time. So just wanted to note that for everybody. Prop SG updates. There's our wrestling facility coming along quite well. The stone on the outside of the building looks fantastic, and it dresses up that, I mean, it's a metal building, but it dresses it up pretty nice. You can see a bunch of riprap stone off the back end of the hill on the right there, and then we have some going down towards the javelin throw on the big hill at the top as well. Pre-engineered metal building steel is now set, and wall sheeting is approximately 50% complete. Roofing and trim will follow. Several key components are already finished, including plumbing and electrical rough-ins, slab on grade concrete curb in the upper lot, masonry work. I believe Bowman's came in and did some asphalt work as well. The next phase will focus on, on asphalt repairs and trench patches that went across the high school parking lot, boring to the transformer, completing the remaining riprap, installing the pump station, and beginning interior framing once the roof is in place. And Taylor Engineering will conduct a survey to evaluate whether steps can be added. One of the requests was some steps down by the PAC. I think that the cost-benefit analysis for that, given some challenges we have with plumbing and other issues going down that big hill there, we're going to hold off on that and see how it goes with the wrestling facility in place for a year and then reevaluate. So, any questions about Prop SG wrestling update?
Budget-wise, it's
Right on schedule. I started talking to Dr. Nix, Mrs. McDaniel, and Mr. Mueller about the golf simulator room and what kind of equipment we need in there, so we've got the process started on that as well. Mr. Bonnell and Dr. Nix were able to come to our last construction update meeting and had several good suggestions. So moving along quite well.
We have instructional program presentation to high school. Max.
Hi, I'm Alex Newman, Collier. And I teach FACS in the high school. So FACS is just one of the classes that I teach. It's kind of my umbrella class, so it's a little bit of everything, a hodgepodge of it all. We go from careers to housing to textiles. Right now the kids are getting into sewing and all of that kind of stuff. We ran a little bit behind, but then we move on to focus on you, interpersonal skills, relationships, and then childcare, and we end the year on food, because if we didn't end with food, then none of them would take it, probably. And then we've got child development. This class, I tell them I love it for the shock factor, because I tell them everything and they are horrified by all the ways that things could go wrong. And it's great. But here's one of my great examples of how horrified they are. Around Halloween in the fall semester, we do pumpkin carving. And so each kid gets a centimeter of dilation to carve on a pumpkin, and then by 10, they're sweating. And then sometimes we are able to host a toddler day, and we have students of staff members come in, and the students create lessons for the toddlers that come in, and they have a little interactive hour in their class period. And that's from last year's. And then nutrition and wellness. This is our starter class for the cooking classes. This is our prerequisite. So you have to take this one in order to get into the higher level cooking classes. And we do an etiquette lab, and I make them all sit at a table like they're a big happy family, and they hate it. But I think it teaches them good skills, and you never know whenever you're gonna be at a 5-star restaurant and have to know which fork to use. Here I've got some pictures of recipes that have gone wrong, because I think it's important to show the mistakes, because I think that's where they learn the most a little bit. We've got some cookies here that turned into sheet bread, basically. And then our housing environments design class, I don't have a whole lot of pictures on this one because we are still hitting the ground running with this one. But we cover a lot in this class. I kind of did a survey amongst the students about like what they actually wanted to learn in this class, because I didn't know what you wanted. So we've got universal design, housing, and society. In that unit, we talk about all the steps to take to actually buy a house. And then they're like, how am I ever going to have that much money? And then early homes, we go through elements of design and principles of design, and then we end on interior design. And one of the projects that they love, they get to design their dream house, but they've got to design at least 2 rooms within the house and come up with an actual 3D project to present to the whole class. And we kind of do room tours or like MTV Cribs, and it's a great time. And then World Foods. This class is my only class that we do a field trip, and we go up to St. Louis and we try a bunch of different restaurants around St. Louis, and they love it, but they're also kind of iffy because I do make them try new things while we go because it is World Foods. But I think it's funny whenever the picky eaters want to get in that class and they're like, do I have to try it? So what you took, yes. But we cover many countries and their culinary trends and like just like the history of the class or the history of the countries and why it is that they eat the food that they eat, and is it geography or just passed on through generations. And then we've got Foods General. This is our one of our other advanced cooking classes. In this class we go through the Nutrition for Life, consumer issues, preparation labs. We kind of get more into what it takes to potentially run your own restaurant. And then we've got FCCLA, and this this club has really taken off. This year, we actually competed in regional star events today, and out of the 22 that competed, we've got 18 advancing to state. We had elections last week, and we now have the regional president for Region 6 and a state officer. So that's going to be very busy, but I'm very excited for them. And they'll be able to go and see Washington, D.C. this summer. So that'll be really good. But that's facts. Thank you.
Probably one of the best class rooms in the school.
Yeah.
With January 1st came the requirement to have $15 an hour as your minimum salary. Our substitute daily pay, if you calculated it out by the hour, is a little short of that. So the updated schedule in front of you, $110 to substitute for a teacher, $105 to substitute for a paraprofessional meets those requirements. Basically a $5 increase.
We still have the incentive to do.
Correct.
Work a lot for us. All right, I will make a motion to approve the amended substitute teacher salary schedule as presented.
Motion to a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And we got new business. Got the draft copy of the proposed school calendar.
In your packet, you will see draft number 1 from the calendar committee. I'm going to cover a couple of the highlights. Start of school is August 24th. We have a teacher-para PD day on September 28th. We maintain a half-day collaboration workday the morning of parent-teacher conferences on October 22nd. We maintain a full day off on November 25th. That used to be a half-day for Thanksgiving break. 2 full-week holiday break, which includes 3 weekends. Coming back in January, we have a teacher workday PD day on January 4th. Teacher PD day on February 12th. Spring break will be from March 26th through April 2nd with a return to school on April 5th. Last year, we had spring break directly before Easter. Easter was a little later. And if you look at the time after spring break from April 5th, that goes straight through almost 8 weeks to get to the end of school. So that's a long haul, and keeping spring break before Easter made that even longer. So we transitioned spring break to have Good Friday off, and then the 29th, second would be spring break. And right now, the last day of school is scheduled on May 25th. A couple of changes with this draft of the calendar. We had some artifacts left over from prior legislation and prior calendars where we would tack on 36 hours to the end of our scheduled student attendance days for makeup snow days. With some changes in legislation, that didn't seem to make sense anymore. So this draft puts some potential weather makeup days embedded in the calendar, depending on when snow days happen would dictate which ones of these you would be able to use. This calendar meets the requirement for an embedded 36 hours of weather makeup. With the last 3 days, the 26th, 27th, and 28th of May. And the thought from the calendar committee was we would still get out before that holiday break and not have to come back after the holiday. There was one more. Oh, this also meets the 169-day requirement for student attendance and qualifies us for the 1% bonus from the state of Missouri, which is roughly $44,000, which is what we received this year. So that's a high-level view of the calendar. We did, in the initial draft that we put out, we had some open house dates that were incorrect. I think those have been corrected on this draft. Gathering some feedback from early childhood in our elementary schools. So it's a work in progress. We put the survey out the end of last week, and that stays open for about a week and a half for comments from everybody. We will reconvene the calendar committee, go through all those comments, organize them, and come up with the final draft of the calendar for you next month. Any questions or comments? One of the weird things I love so much about this job is putting the calendar together every year.
That's the best and worst.
Yes. Trying to make pieces of the puzzle fit. I did want to say one more thing, sorry. 8 schools in Missouri wrote letters to the State Board of Education requesting a waiver for the school start date. You'll remember several years ago there was some legislation put in place that the start date of school was mandated by when the state fair was, and they wanted another holiday weekend at Lake of the Ozarks. So this year, the earliest start date, according to that legislation, is August 24th. That's the last week of August. Most schools in the state would start the week before sometime. Our people have been commenting and asking for a long time. They don't start on Monday. Well, the reason we're required to start on a Monday is because the semesters are so imbalanced already because we're not able to start until the 24th. So the State Board of Education is going to hopefully rule on those 8 waiver requests February 10th. And a whole bunch of schools are sending in additional waiver requests so that whenever this is presented to the State Board, not only, our hope is, not only will they consider those 8, but they will consider the ones that we send to. So I have a waiver request letter in Mr. Bosler's packet for him to sign. We'll get that sent off to the appropriate parties tomorrow and join that club, allowing us to start 4 days early, 3 days early, would balance out the semesters a little better and allow us to finish perhaps the 3rd week of May. I know a lot of employees would really appreciate starting, depending on snow days, of course. So there's a possibility we'll come to you with an amendment. We should know something by our next board meeting, hopefully.
So tentatively starting on the 18th and 19th instead of 24th?
Yes, I would assume that the calendar committee, given the option to move it up and get 3 or 4 more days and not starting on a Monday. Kindergarten kids and elementary kids struggle to get back into the swing of things, and when they have a whole week, that's taxing on everyone. So it would be nice to be able to meet our people where they are. I mean, that's the way it used to be. We would start on a Thursday and Friday. Get a couple days in, get acclimated back, have the weekend to recoup, and then go on vacation. That's our hope.
Any comments? All right. Next we have a new board member appointment. Due to the resignation of David Bova, the St. John County R2 School District Board of Education will appoint an individual to fill the vacant board position for the remainder of the term, ending in April 2027. Applicants include Philip Kwan and Rachel Stewart. So they're both here. Thank you guys for both applying. I know we've all had conversations. I think we've all contacted you and interviewed you, and I think I told you both are great candidates. Unfortunately, we do have to pick one of you this evening. So I think if anybody's got a motion to recommend one of these two.
I'll make a motion to appoint Philip Kwan as member of the Board of Education to fill the remaining of the term ending in April 2027.
Motion and a second. Roll call. Jamie Blue?
Yes.
Josh Kitter?
Yes.
Rick Osler? Yes. Sherry Diesel?
Yes.
Martha Reesinger?
Yes.
And Jim Kirschner? Motion carries. Thank you, guys. Before we close, I got something we can say. As we come to the close of our meeting this evening, I'd like to take a moment to honor and remember Darla Barr. Darla was far more than a building secretary at Bloomsdale Elementary. She was the heart of that school. She loved her job. She loved the kids. She loved her colleagues. She truly looked forward to coming to work each day. From the moment you walked into the building, Darla made you feel welcome. She knew the students by name. She knew the families. And she always knew exactly what needed to be done, often before anyone asked. Beyond her professionalism, Darla was simply an amazing person. She was kind, genuine, and full of warmth. She laughed easily. She listened without judgment. She treated everyone like a friend. For many of us, myself included, Darla was not just a colleague, but a personal friend to our families. Her loss is deeply personal. Our hearts are especially with her family, her husband Jeff, her daughters Hannah and Molly, her mother Mary Ann, brother Daryl, and her sisters Lynette and Stacy, and her entire family. We also hold close to Lynette, who teaches at the same school, and Molly, who serves our students as the school librarian. Darla gave so much of herself to our school community. She showed up every day with compassion, dedication, and a genuine love for children. Her presence made Bloomsdale Elementary a better place, and her absence will be felt deeply. Though her time with us was far too short, her impact will remain. She leaves behind a legacy of kindness, service, and love, one that will continue to live on in the lives she touched. We will miss her dearly, and we will remember her always. This time we'll ask that we please observe a moment of silence in honor of Darla and in support of her family. Thank you, guys. Anybody else has anything to say or comment or anything?
You said it. You did a good job. I'll make a motion to adjourn the open session of the regular meeting of the Board of Education of the St. Genevieve County R2 School District.
Second. I have a motion and a second. Jamie?
Yes.
Josh?
Yes.
Eric, yes. Jerry?
Yes.
Martha? And Jim?